Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm going to cast a match here between not EG in control but EGPuMa versus 6jax Major, and I have with me Cricket Starcraft. How's it going?
It's going good. Glad to be here.
And we got a TvT on Blackwater Gulch. Is that the name of this map?
Backwater Gulch. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. All these new maps they're throwing in here, it's too much.
Well, yeah, and it's really difficult whenever they're not used in tournament play.
Yeah.
Tournaments know that they're just not that high quality of maps, and yet we still have to cast on them as well. It's like if they don't have to play on them for tournaments, why do we have to cast on them? But it tends to happen like that for some reason.
Yep, this is a ladder match. And 6jax Major, as of recording this, is no longer on 6jax. So he's just Major.
Nice.
But
nice.
Puma's still on EG.
That's good.
I don't think he'll be going anywhere anytime soon. I think he's happy there.
Yeah, they'll write him a big fat check every year to make sure he stays.
Yep. So we've got gas at first for Puma and nothing yet for Major. Let's see if he's going to throw down that barracks. Yep, going to throw down that barracks, and we'll see whether or not he's going to throw up a gas at 13 or if he's going to go for some type of fast expand.
Yeah, the longer that gas stays off there, the more you think one rack's command center. But yeah, I was going to say this is going to be a really short game if that happens because generally Terran in TvTs, the Terran who expands first is normally the one who loses unless if they get some great positioning. Now that was just typical for the NASL, and it's typical of a lot of major tournaments, but the tide is starting to turn, and I'm starting to watch more and more games where the Terran player will expand first and still be able to win, but it's still very iffy. So from here, we'll see I just said in control. Puma, we'll see him probably just go straight to factory, maybe even do a 1-1-1, maybe even see an early Raven. That'd be nice.
Yeah, might see an early Raven. The really only, I think some of the depending on who gets the expansion first, like you were talking about, that really just depends on what the build orders each player is doing. Like if one of them goes for a bio opening, the other one goes for a mech, the bio player will get his third a lot quicker just because he's going to have map control for the time being until that mech player can manage to get up enough forces to go ahead and push it. Yep.
And we see that factory going down. So we might see like a Hellion open with maybe some starport medevac play. So Puma might be looking at doing some drops. I know we saw a lot of that in his TvP matchups and TvZ. Basically, in any kind of matchup, it's always good to drop. So this SCV of Major has been in the base of Puma for quite some time, now finally getting roasted. And now Major just kind of holding up the fort at that big ramp down below while he gets his factory and reactor up. So I'm going to assume that Major's going to go for some kind of Hellion reactor opening.
Yeah, neither player has got their second gas yet, but actually do have 6jax Major now taking his command center, and it looks like he's going to make some just standard Red Flame Hellions.
Yeah, and he's going to use that for map control because if Puma sticks with his bio play, really can't move out with those Hellions on the map unless if you go more Marauder heavy. But we do see that 1-1-1 build from Puma getting that starport. So I'm going to assume that we're going to see some early drop play, but it does look like it's going to go on a tech lab. So might see, is it going to be Raven or Banshee? Banshee it is.
Yep.
Banshee it is.
So we're going to have Banshee Harass versus Hellion opening. This is going to bode too well for Major just because he doesn't have that many Marines out.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me a little nervous because, I mean, obviously the Hellions can run away from the Banshees, but those Hellions are not getting in the base of Puma. I mean, Puma's can sit there with his Banshee flying all around, and kind of like what you said, there's not that many Marines out. That Banshee can easily handle 2 Marines that are walking over to his base. It's like, eat me, I'm here. So we'll see kind of a small, I guess, just a contained push for the most part, but it's going to get pushed back almost immediately once this Banshee comes out.
Yeah, this is a really type of like aggressive play, but that Banshee is going to come out and take care of that one Marine. Yeah, he's gone and he has nowhere to go. But luckily those Hellions are plenty fast and they're going to try and sneak out of there. Actually, he's going to lose one already. That's not going to be too bad at all for Puma, and that second one does get away.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. There's very few situations where I think that might have been effective. If Puma had been really, really greedy, maybe it had been effective. But unfortunately, he lost one Hellion. He lost the 2 Marines, and we see actually an SCV getting in the side of Major's base, scouting out everything. Oh no! And he hides in the brush. and Major finally picking that up, but wow, or he doesn't. And so Puma gets to see everything he wants.
Once again, we have Major at the front base of Puma, dealing a little bit of damage, but not going to get in there and going to sacrifice some more Hellions to that Banshee. And finally, it looks like Major's going to go back to his base, and then both players are going to go back to their corners and macro it up for a little bit more.
Yep, and we see that Viking coming out and then the Raven coming out for Major. He's going to try and control the air as long as he can. With that Banshee play that started out for Puma, that Viking is going to shove away that Banshee and prevent the Banshee from really doing any damage, which we probably will see Major. He's been doing double SCVs, preparing that natural expansion for all to basically just be saturated pretty well. And then from there, we see that tech lab going on, so we'll see that siege tank tech mixed in with a lot of Viking play. So this is panning out to be a pretty typical TvT matchup, just with slightly different openings.
Yeah, I think both players are eventually going to settle on double mech. Both players getting the Blue Flame upgrade. Puma getting a reactor is probably going to swap onto his factory there. So we're going to see a lot of Hellions come out, and then probably some siege tanks get added in. So probably going to have some Blue Flame battles coming up here.
Absolutely, and right now it's really I guess Major, yeah, he's also getting that pre-igniter, so we won't see too much damage probably being dealt until those siege tanks start being played. We won't see really any push. We'll see a bunch of Hellions just kind of flying around, just high-fiving each other, thinking they're all cool and fast. But for the most part, I don't know if too much damage is going to get done, but Major does have 2 Hellions in the natural of Puma. Still, once again, not able to do too much, setting one of the cactus aflame as well.
And that other Hellion is going to get picked off by those other Blue Flame Hellions, chasing it. But Major's... makes wrong turn, gets picked off right there.
I feel like we were in like a Need for Speed, some kind of high-speed chase thing.
Yeah, Major's all out of nitrous.
Yeah, he lost. And the floating barracks, so odd enough. Ooh, that one SCV losing his life so quickly. But yeah, the floating barracks is kind of saying, hey, we're going to play mech, just to let you know. Just to let you know. In case if you didn't know, we're playing mech. So we do see the point defense drone having to go down for Puma because he does not have a good enough Viking count to take on what Major has. And so Major's basically just floating in the base. Ooh, actually going to lower down the Vikings and do some SCV damage.
Ooh, now he's going to lift him back from the air after be forced to throw down a point defense drone, but it looks like those Vikings are not going to be able to get anywhere. That Raven cannot land. He's going to go down. So actually that worked out pretty well for Major, keeping this air battle, the air dominance in effect.
Absolutely, and they're, oddly enough, they're almost sitting even in Hellions, despite all of the ones that...
no!
Them while they're shooting down the rocks. Of course, Major is severely outnumbered in there, but he almost lined him up perfectly to deal some severe damage, and while that's going on, he moved in the Vikings and Raven into the main base of Puma. So surprisingly enough, he is really taking a toll on Puma's just army count.
Yeah, Puma pushing in there with that slight air advantage, dealing a significant amount of damage, and then sneaking there with those Hellions, getting a pretty cost-effective kill against Puma while he was taking out rocks.
Yeah, and I mean, in the big scope of things, he's still only just lost 2 more units. Major's only lost 2 more units than Puma. So it feels like a lot of stuff is being dealt. But as of right now, there's not too much difference between the stats. The Harvesters, looks like Puma's a little bit ahead, but that's not really going to yield too big of an advantage. They're sitting at basically the same Hellions. Now, the biggest difference that I see right now is that Major has the Viking advantage, and of course they're now starting to get those siege tanks. So that Viking advantage, of course, is going to play a huge role once these tanks start putting pressure.
Yeah, it looks like the armory is finished for Puma, so we'll probably see 1 or 2 Thor come out just to let him deal with any type of air pressure. And we'll probably see some Thors come out from Major too. He has his armory just about finished. Still going with mostly mech here. A couple Banshees sprinkled in just for just a tad bit of damage. And of course, whenever you do have the air advantage, you can push in with those Banshees, deal a lot of damage to those tanks. But that's kind of why Puma is getting those Thors, just so that if he does lose the air advantage, he can still deal with the 1 or 2 Banshees.
Yep, and it looks like Major is going to start busting down those rocks with the tanks, looking at taking a third and hoping to have that advantage. And while he's doing that, he's putting more pressure on. We see the Hellions just burning each other up. It does look like that advantage is going to go to Puma, but the Thor finally coming out. There's a point defense drone in the main of Puma, but it does look like, once again, Major is going to be able to take the air dominance away while the Banshee pokes away at the Thor. Vikings are landing.
What is he landing those Vikings? Vikings for?
Oh, he wanted the Thor, but it's not going to happen. Puma's going to repair it. Oh, it was almost a good idea. Almost a good idea.
You know, I have a saying about landing Vikings. You want to know what it is?
Please enlighten me.
It's don't. It's pretty simple.
Very eloquently said.
Yeah. Oh, and we have a Manor Barracks blocking Major's third down there, so he's going to be forced to pull down those tanks. And Hellions just delayed just a little bit.
Nice. And every little bit counts. This is giving the allowing Puma to catch his command center up. So now his just finished, and now Major's is just now, or maybe it's gonna land. There. It's no, maybe not. It should land. There we go. So it's gonna land, and so really with just that little barracks, the thirds are almost perfectly timed together.
Oh, we have some Hellion harass in the top left. It looks like he's gonna get a couple kills. Oh, a lot of kills. Not bad there. Not bad attack there for Major at all. And pushing through the middle here, it looks like he's going to take out that tank at the Xel'Naga Tower. And that's going to give Major the Xel'Naga Tower coverage, which is going to work out pretty well.
Oh man, we see I have a huge engagement in the middle of the map. Point defense drones are trying to help out the Vikings with the Thors, but Major was able to siege up before Puma. Puma losing way too many tanks. Those Thors are going to be able to take a lot of the damage away from the tanks, but as of right now, Puma doesn't have anything to push in with. And so the advantage still goes to Major.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty impressed by Major's play this game.
Yeah, it's really coming down to the multitasking. Of course, he did flub it whenever he landed down those Vikings. Wasn't expecting that tank to pop out to help. But so far, as far as positioning and overall multitasking, it really does feel like he's ahead. Oh, man, Major almost getting those Hellions in, but Puma being right on it, even walling off his third. I really like that play, forcing the Hellions to have to go all the way around if they want to burn up some more SCVs.
Yeah, I like how we've got Major scouting out those expansions on the left side of the map with that Hellion and then the Marine down there also. So just making sure Puma's not going to take any type of sneaky fourth, or sorry, in this case, yeah, fourth on him.
Yeah, and the reason why he's doing it, because he's doing it to Puma. It's kind of like, I'm going to do this, but I want to make sure he's not doing it to me either. And Major has really set up some kind of fortification here. He has his turrets, he has Ravens. That point defense drone is still just chilling up in the air with a few seconds left. The Thor is now here, so he's going to be able to run in and get a possible... take a few siege tank blasts, allowing his tanks to move in, so he has those Thors if he does want to be aggressive. But right now, we're kind of at that stalemate point in time. We see a few Vikings finally taking down that point defense drone, but as of right now, it'll just we'll just have to see who moves out first.
Oh, snipes the Raven. Nice job there from Puma. And looks like we're going to have a counterattack from Major on the left side of the map. He's going to push up there, maybe get set up on top of those rocks above that fourth, and just delay mining from Puma for that base. It looks like Puma does see it. He's going to try and get up there. He has Hellions, but I don't think those Hellions are going to be enough to deal with those two Thors. Tanks dealing a lot of damage to those SCVs. He's forced to lift up there, and this is a pretty good position for Major in this situation. He's got the high ground advantage and has control over that expansion.
Absolutely, and Major is slowly starting to run away with this. Now Puma does have that Viking advantage, so he definitely needs to try and utilize that over at his third, because he had to keep a few siege tanks in the back in order to make sure that Major didn't try to do any two-pronged attack. But definitely this is favoring Major, and Major's even catching that sneaky fourth that Puma was shooting for. And actually using the barracks to gain vision, but I don't know if it's going to give him enough advantage. Those tanks pummeling away on the other tanks, and it's just starting to sound like gibberish to me right now.
Yeah, we got some Hellions from Major in the main of Puma, and he took out quite a few SCVs, now finally getting cleaned up there. So Major doing some drops, and we're probably going to see Puma maybe, okay, he's going to put those Vikings back over there to control that air. Maybe throw up some missile turrets or something like that, but that was a pretty successful attack on his part. We've got 23 worker kills for Major and only 2 for Puma, so, Major's doing quite well this game.
Yeah, and they really are starting to favor those tanks. We see 19 tanks for Major and 16 for Puma, so that is the main bulk of their supply. And we just see a few Vikings and Thors mixed in. There is one Marine for Major, so that is the captain, commander-in-chief of this entire army. But so far, we're kind of at a standstill. Major definitely has the fortification up a little bit better, finally getting down that sensor tower, and then with those turrets. So I think if Puma, he really needs to start working on it, but it looks like he's going to actually try and sneak in this gold. I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold it, though.
Yeah, it just depends on who gets that Zell Naga Tower first. Major is pushing up, but Puma is already sieged up, so it looks like he's going to be able to hold that orbital command for the time being. And we've got a Hellion, did scout out that expansion, but it looks like there's a Hellion drop way over here in the far left. Going to get picked off by the Vikings. Puma going to take that out. Not one to have any more Hellion drops in his base. He didn't like the way that went last time.
Yeah, and Puma's just kind of waiting. It just feels like it's a stare down. We're waiting for a lot of movement. Of course, we did see Major try and do that drop play, trying to be a sneaky and whittle away as much as possible. But Puma actually pushing in a little bit, taking some damage, unfortunately, on his tank line and not having his Vikings in the air ready to deal back the same damage. But he really wants this gold. It does look like he has landed his orbital command, trying to mine from it as much as he can, and Major will have to move more tanks in there in order to deny that gold that Puma is just eating up right now.
I gotta say, this map is definitely being cut in half. Both players want their equal share. And it looks like I'm kind of curious what kind of like ultimate tech we're going to get to, if we're going to get to that, you know, crazy mass Viking battlecruiser type of style, or we will see.
Yeah, it probably will end up to that. I mean, you got to have something big has got to happen in the fifth base of Puma on the left-hand corner, the natural of the top left base. Puma keeps breaking your rule. He keeps landing those Vikings, and those Hellions are ready and waiting to eat those Vikings alive. So if Puma wants this, there we see his tank and Hellion army mobilizing. Checking the upgrades, 1-0 for Puma, and Major has 2-0 on his mech. So Major is ahead, but it does look like Puma's going to be able to take this base.
Oh man, kind of being baited in there. Puma being baited into Major's tank line there, and he took quite a few hits there, losing quite a few Hellions and a couple tanks up there, but Puma did pay for it. He is getting that expansion up, but I mean, I gotta look in the bottom left, just look at all those command centers that are being built down there. It looks like eventually Major is just gonna throw away all his SCVs away to get that maximum army count and just go straight mule.
Yep, and that's what this end game comes to. I mean, we're sitting at 25 minutes into the game, and we don't see anyone budging anytime soon. And so we have this standstill. You know, it could take us a few days in order to finish this battle, but we'll be here. We'll be here. I mean, I'll stay up. I don't care.
I wonder how long it does take to mine out this map. We may find out this game.
Yeah, we very well could. Puma unsieging his tanks at that left-hand corner. Looks like he's going to try and he's going to leave a few tanks there just for defense, but really trying to spread out. I mean, when you said they are cutting it in half, the only place that Major doesn't have forces is really in that right-hand corner where he could run up into the main, but those rocks are still there. So I don't know. All those command centers are done. I wonder, that'd be awesome if he did proxy planetary fortresses.
So Major is taking the air advantage over those siege tanks on the left. Puma dealing a lot of damage to those tanks. Major getting a little too close there, losing so many tanks to that, and that didn't work out very well at all for Major. Scan going down there from Puma. Puma did lose that gold base from those tanks that pushed up next to that Zell Naga tower, so he's forced to abandon that base, now just long distance mining from there.
Yep. And one of those command centers has been an orbital command. I'm waiting for him to do the other. I mean, he's only banking 6K. Okay, now he just spent a little bit. I mean, he is a little bit under-resourced, but if you look at the production tab, Major, 4 battle cruisers on the way.
Yeah, but it looks like we're going to have Puma break this little bit of a contain over here on the left side of the map. Thor's pushing up. Those 2 tanks are going to get taken out with some Thor support microing back 1 big Thor. And it looks like he's going to continue to push down here on the left side of the map.
Battlecruisers on the right side.
Oh yeah, battlecruisers pushing all the way up there. Not enough air defense for Puma, and he just lost a whole big section of the wall, I guess you would call it, of his base.
Yeah, he only has 6 Vikings out right now. He needs to pump as many as he can, getting that extra reactor on that starport, laying down missile turrets everywhere he can. And so it's going to come down, but we have a huge engagement in the bottom middle of the map. Those battlecruisers just getting eaten alive by the Thor. Thors are still really not that good against that many battlecruisers, and air dominance is kind of being contested here. All those Thors going down to Major's siege tank line and battlecruisers. Puma's running away those Vikings in order to save them while he sieges them up in the bottom left-hand corner of Major's base. Major's probably lovingly letting his SCVs die because now he can just mule.
Yeah, I can imagine what those battlecruisers are saying. Easy pickings. They just cleaned up that whole force, and we're probably going to see Puma maybe go for some type of tech switch to deal with just that mass amount of battlecruisers. It looks like he's just going to stick with Thor Viking and not even bother getting his own set of battlecruisers, but I don't know how well that's going to deal with Yamato cannons. I mean, Yamato cannons counter everything.
If I remember looking at the chart, I do remember it saying everything on the chart. We do have Puma trying to do a little Hellion run by, but he's kind of like, whatever, dude, take out my SCVs. That means I can make more battle cruisers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he's just letting them in.
Yeah, if I was Major at this point, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool. Not really doing too much. I mean, all he's going to do is replace them with like 15 mules. You can look at all these command centers he's got around the map. And there's a Hellion attack from Major in the top left, trying to do a little bit of more damage to Puma, taking out a couple mules, and supply is still pretty close here for both players. Puma definitely not out of it. He can muster up enough AA, and if he can just kind of pick those battle cruisers off, maybe get them out of position, get them away from those tanks, we may see a swing in the play here.
Yeah, we have 20 Vikings for Puma and 7 Thors, but we have 11 battlecruisers and 9 Vikings. And here comes the big engagement. Everyone is throwing in all their chips. It looks like Yamato cannons going down everywhere. Oh, where are your Vikings, Puma? They're all getting Yamato cannon. All the Thors getting cleaned up, and Major advances.
Yeah, Major just walking right through that army like it wasn't even there. Puma forced to retreat. One Thor trying to get out of there quickly, getting back to his buddy, but I mean, with that many battle cruisers with a +2 attack upgrade, +1 armor upgrade, just so many cattle bruisers.
Oh my gosh, and we have those tanks on the top left-hand corner just doing work. Well, 2 of them are, all the others are doing a dance. While the battle cruiser, so Major is slowly swarming and infesting the map as if he were a Zerg.
Yeah, I don't know at this point how Puma can get back from this with that many battlecruisers out there. I think it's pretty much game at this point. Puma tanks aren't going to do you any good at this point. He just can't get enough Vikings out. He can't macro enough Vikings out to just deal with the amazing number of battlecruisers that Major has just, seems like, appeared.
Yeah, and this is what a lot of Koreans are actually starting to do. If you watch the GSL at all in TVTs, they're kind of waiting, and then they'll start to sack supply little by little while they add on battle cruisers, and they'll like hide them in some kind of corner, and then send them all in at once and just go for the win. But once those battle cruisers got that speed upgrade, this is when we really start seeing them being used in TVT, and it's pretty convincing. It looks like Major's going to come away with this.
Puma trying to kite those battlecruisers as well as possible. He's doing a pretty decent damage there. He just picked off 1 battlecruiser. Might be able to pick off 2 more. They're 2 still very low. He's not out of this yet, and he is kiting those battlecruisers fairly well. I haven't seen any Yamato cannons go off yet. And he's going to get all 3 of those low battlecruisers. Oh, there goes 3 Yamato cannons. Going deep, taking a couple of them out, but at the sacrifice of, like, he's lost so many battlecruisers in this position.
Yeah. Yeah, he really has. Puma's definitely out macroing, and without enough energy for those Yamato cannons, you really can't clean up those Vikings with the control of Puma. So, unfortunately, I think there's just been too much damage that's been done. Now Major coming in with the Blue Flame Hellions, but as of right now, I mean, a lot of those orbital commands have been lost. Now they do have a lot of energy. He's going to be able to mule like crazy. We can see all those mules in the top left-hand corner come down, but Major just taking that commanding lead. Now he is going to just use all those mules. We see he didn't lose anything that entire time was the main thing. He still has all of his mining capacity, and now he's going to siege up right outside the natural of Puma and just basically do this battlecruiser Viking tank push.
Yeah, he can essentially contain him at this point. He's got over 100 supply lead. I really do not see how Puma can come back for this.
Yeah, but I got to hand it to Puma. There's only 3 battlecruisers left.
Yeah, I mean, I think Major got a little overeager with that attack. He didn't really play it as perfectly as he thought. I mean, maybe as he thought he should have. It just seemed like he was kind of just being a little too I don't know, greedy with what he thought he could accomplish with those battle cruisers.
Yeah, he was probably expecting a GG. He's like, dude, I got battle cruisers. What you got? What you got, Holmes?
Thors?
And, yeah, he's like, I eat Thors. But we do see Major pulling what SCVs he does have to go and repair the tank line sitting outside of Puma's base. Now he's also taking the gold for himself. And we actually do have a good bit of SCVs, but oh my goodness, there's an SCV mule party in the bottom left-hand corner. I do not know what's going on there.
We have a big Viking fight going on the top left. And Major's going to lose all of his Vikings there to Puma, so Puma's going to gain air control once again. And we had some Hellions trying to get some kills over there on Puma's, I don't know, third, fourth base at this time? Not quite sure. It's hard to keep track of bases this far into the game, losing so many bases. But
yeah, and there's not like a really distinct third or and fourth and fifth. It's just weird. It's weird. But it does look like finally Major's going to move in. He is tired of this game. It is 36 minutes into it, and he's going to do, hopefully, the final push.
Yeah, this has to be the final push. I don't see Puma coming back from this. He's got like 54 supply, 7 of that being harvesters. And there's the GG finally from Puma. And Major getting a well-deserved win against Puma in this TvT.
Yeah, Puma did a great job. I would give him the Battle Cruiser Kill Count Award Gold Star. I've never seen that many Battle Cruisers go down. Just a straight Viking micro. That was just good at whittling away. Unfortunately, Major wasn't just using his Battle Cruisers, used everything else to take the game.
Yeah, I think at the beginning, Major kind of just, his pokes were maybe a little more effective than Puma. So he had those pokes, but he was also teching up faster than Puma was. He was getting, not as many Hellions, but he had tanks out, and then he had that air advantage, which he really used to his advantage. He got a scout at his entire opponent, did some harassing with the Vikings and the Raven, and then just got to battle cruisers first, and then I guess battle cruisers wins versus anything else Terran has.
Everything.
In this situation, I mean, we got to see it firsthand right here. What happens when you have battle cruisers versus Thor Viking? Battle cruiser wins.
Yep, absolutely.
So, thanks for doing some co-casting with me here. Where can everybody go check out more of your stuff?
Well, it's just youtube.com/Cricket Starcraft. I do basically pro game cast. I'm trying to get really ranked high in 2v2s. So if you guys like team games, I'm currently in top masters, but I'm actually, as far as the world leaderboard, trying to move my way up there. And so I do live streaming, but all that information's on my YouTube channel. So go check it out there.
Yeah, everybody head on over to his YouTube channel and tell him Eon sent you. That's it for this game. See everybody later.